Okay, graphing a nonlinear function. A nonlinear function is just a function that is not a straight line, okay? So this is an example of a function that is not a straight line. We can do our vertical line test on there, and I don't hit more than 1 point at a time, so it is a function. All right, so in a quadratic function, the input is squared, all right? So you're going to have f of x, and then your input, which is x, is going to be squared. That is a quadratic function, all right? The quadratic function will always be U-shaped, and we call that a parabola. So this is a parabola, all right? It can open upward or it can open downward, so it can actually look like that as well. All right, so for the function y equals 2x squared, that is your function here, is y equals 2x squared. Here's your table. They actually chose x values and then substituted them into this equation, which is y equals 2x squared. Could also be written f of x equals 2x squared. All right, so they chose their x values, they substituted them into the rule, function rule, and they found their y values and then put them in ordered pairs. When they graphed those ordered pairs, they had a parabola. So when you're graphing quadratic functions, you choose your x's, solve for your y's, and then graph those points. Oh, you should always choose 2 negative values, 0, and 2 positive values so that you know what's going to happen after you square it, because when you square it, it kind of turns negative numbers into positive numbers. All right, so the function a equals 10x minus x squared, where x is the width of yards, so x is our width of yards, gives the area A of a goat pen in square yards. Wants us to graph this function. So what you're going to do is you're going to choose your x's. In this case, they didn't choose any negative, because if you choose negative widths, we can't have a negative width of yards. If we're building a goat pen, we can't have negative yards, right? So they didn't choose any negatives, which is okay because it makes sense in the context of the problems. Choose your x's, solve for your y's, put them in ordered pairs, and graph them. This is just like we did with linear equations, okay? Graphing linear equations. All right, this equation is a little bit different. I'm going to write it in function notation so you get used to that. F of x equals the absolute value of x. So what you're going to do is you're going to choose your choose your x's, substitute them into the equation, which is the absolute value of x, and solve for y or for f of x, right? So this equation, the graph of this equation will always look like this, all right? Quadratic equations are non-linear. They are not a straight line. They're not going to be a straight line, okay? They can look, there's a lot of different ways they can look, and so it's really important that you solve for those values when you're graphing them. All right, that is it for graphing nonlinear functions. Choose your x's, solve for your y's, graph them on the coordinate plane.